Hello, and welcome to Tennessee Talks. I'm your host, Ruth Dunning. With Election Day quickly approaching, we are dedicating a series of shows to the upcoming Germantown Municipal School Board races. Today I'm going to be joined by the candidate running unopposed for position 4, Lisa Parker. Mrs. Parker had opposition for this seat at the filing deadline, which is why we dedicated an entire show to the position 4 race. The other candidate has since dropped out, but we still wanted to bring you today's conversation with Mrs. Parker. Welcome, Lisa.
Thank you.
It's good to have you back.
Thank you. I appreciate the invitation. What a wonderful studio you have.
Isn't this fabulous, this new studio?
It is. It's great to be back.
First, I want to ask you about your background and your interest in running for the school board. I know this has been a long time process for you.
Yes, it has. Basically, I'm doing this for my grandchildren. I have been a lifelong resident of Shelby County, grew up in Memphis, attended East High School, attended the University of Memphis, Memphis State back then, raised my kids in Germantown. My children were attended Riverdale. I was very active in the Riverdale PTA. At that time, the consolidation kind of hit back in the late 80s, early 90s, and got very active then, which kind of threw me into the political arena. And we fought the consolidation back at that time, and I ran for alderman and served 8 years as an alderman for the city of Germantown, which got me into the political arena, never thinking of myself as a politician and never really want to. But that kind of got me excited about running for school board because at the time I was an active member of the Education Commission, Youth Commission. We started the Juvenile Services Board at that time and always involved with the youth. So this is just a perfect fit for me and something I'm really excited to do. And of course I say I'm doing it for my grandchildren, but I'm doing it for all of our grandchildren. So,
yes.
But very excited. I think I have the political experience and the community involvement that serves me well for this position.
Good. We've talked a lot about best practices. Those that are in place now and that we'd like to keep, and if you have any idea of any others that you're aware of around the state or around the country that you'd like to see initiated. If we're going to have a world-class system, we need to know what the best things are out there.
Definitely.
So,
and those are some things that we as an unelected board, the 5 of us that were elected.
Initially elected.
Right. We have been meeting since we were elected last November, we've been meeting very regularly and have looked at those best practices from the National Education Association down to the state. Maryville and Oak Ridge have excellent school districts here in our own state. We've looked at Virginia, we've looked at Atlanta, we've looked at Texas and their best practices. And a few of them in which we do already here, but we can really kind of expand. Some are peer tutoring. It's really done in the K through 8 schools, Riverdale. And take those top students in the 6th, 7th, and 8th grade and let them peer tutor to the kindergarten, really read to the kindergarten 1st and 2nd grades. And it gives those kids, the higher students, an opportunity to to excel and to be proud of what they're doing for the K through 2nd and 3rd grade. Peer tutoring is one. Another is, I believe it was called in-training teaching. Give those teachers that don't really have they're not really educated in some of, what am I trying to say? Subjects. Say a teacher comes out of school and really has her degree in English, but she doesn't really know much about social studies. And is she willing to teach a social study class? And in order to save resources, in order not to hire a social study teacher, not not to get a teacher that has tenure, really, but a new teacher, to get them to teach English and social studies. And not to try to force that on a teacher, but, are you willing to do this? And that kind of solves a revenue problem, and it also solves a teacher problem. But that is more logistics problem than anything. There are a lot. And if you go on the website on the NEA, you can see a ton of best practices. But what works well in our community? Our community is doing so much, and as you know, Ruth, we've got top class. Right here. You've got a top class television production. You've got top class performing arts. You've got visual arts. You've got chorus. You've got band. You've got academics. You've got the IB program. You've got all that Germantown is so proud of. You ask anybody who's moving into the community, what's the best thing about Germantown? It's our schools. And this is something we want to expand, and we're so proud of them, and we want them top. We want them top, not just top in the county, top in the state. We want them top in the nation, and we want to continue with that. And I'm so proud to be a part of it.
And not often do you have a chance to start at start a brand new system and get all those things in place right at the beginning.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's an exciting thing. Yes. What kind of superintendent qualities would you look for? I know you've been involved in thinking about that for a year now.
Well, you talk about hiring a superintendent, whether it's a he or a she. We want someone, we talked about, do we want somebody with a doctorate? Well, we don't really want to limit it to a doctorate. We definitely want somebody that has been in the classroom.
Right.
We want somebody who is a visionary. There's some great buzzwords out there, but, when you, as it mentioned the other day, we're looking for God.
I know, when I see a laundry list of the ideal qualities.
That's exactly right. We're looking for a visionary. We're looking for someone who listens. We're looking for someone that has the authority to communicate. We're looking for someone who can take the heat and be a good communicator and work with parents and work with students and work with teachers. But we're also looking for somebody who can not micromanage. As a board, we do not want to micromanage him.
Okay, let me
her.
or her. Let me skip then to another question that deals with board practices and whether you think boards should micromanage. For example, there's a board in North Carolina this year that has banned books, and there was a huge outcry, and they've since rescinded that ban. But is that what you think a board should be involved with?
No, I don't think a board should micromanage. I don't micromanage. I don't like to be micromanaged. But that's my personal. I don't know about, I'm sorry, I hit that. I don't know about the rest of the board, but my personal opinion is I don't want to micromanage, nor do I want to be micromanaged. I want the person, if I have the faith in them to do the job, let them do the job. And then after the performance, if he or she is not doing the job, then we'll look at it later on.
Right, yeah.
So.
Most teachers are happy to hear that. They don't want to be micromanaged either, and I'm sure principals don't want to be.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah. Have you had any talks with any principals or people who might be involved in telling you what they are interested in this last year?
I have heard that some of the principals would like to talk with us, but we're kind of on a fine line because we are not official. I don't want to step on any toes, or I don't want to cross any fine lines, because I want to be transparent. And as soon as we are elected, we have to send out public notices, and every time we meet, it is a public, where the public is involved.
Right.
If anybody wants to come and listen, we are open, and I want to be transparent.
Other sunshine laws. Yeah.
Right, right. So I've heard of a couple, and I would like to go and meet with them and talk with them, but it's sort of, it's...
I see your fine line
Right,
there.
right. I want to be very open and very honest, and as soon as we are elected, we want to We want to tell the public what our timeline is and what we're doing and how we're doing it and when we're doing it and the whole schedule.
That makes perfect sense. I understand we have negotiations ongoing dealing with the buildings and the boundaries. What do you know about that? I keep trying to get somebody to give us some secrets or something, and nobody will.
Well, I wish I knew something, but as far as I know, and it's all being done by the mayor and the legal expertise right now. So I know that there is a meeting with the Shelby County School Board on the 22nd, and they're going to talk about it in a public meeting. So we are all going to be there in force to try to figure out what is happening. So I know that if there were 5 of us were unopposed, we can kind of get the ball moving a little bit quicker, but because we're having an election for one of our members, position 1, we have to wait until we are a true board, and then we can all kind of sit down. But at least that's what the board tells us. That's what I believe the chairman of the Shelby County School Board told us, that if we had an unopposed school board, we could probably all sit down at the table and talk.
I think some of the other municipalities with unopposed boards have met.
Right,
Yes.
right. Collierville, Arlington. Yes.
Yes. What about non-resident students? Because a good many of the students who attend school at Germantown do not live within the Germantown border.
The only thing I know is that we want all 8 schools, and we want all the students that are currently attending the schools. And that's the only thing that I know that is up in the air. We want all 8 schools, and we want all the students.
I think the mayor calls that buildings and border.
That's right. We want all the children from Cordova. We want all the children from the south area. We even pull in some kids from Collierville.
They go to Houston. Yeah. In fact, Houston was built with the idea that it would serve both communities. Right. So that'll be interesting to see how that works.
And I do believe Collierville has more population Houston High School has more population from Collierville than they do from Germantown.
Do you think there's any practices now that you know about that you think should be eliminated? Not necessarily just now with the combined system, but in the past. Were there any things that you thought really should be reworked or go away?
Well, if there's any fat in the, when you look, if you ever visited the district offices in regards to Memphis and Shelby County, Memphis had the bigger side of the district, and Shelby County was on the back end, and there wasn't much fat in the revenue. So if there is any, we certainly want to trim it, but I'm not saying there ever was. So we'll have to deal with that. But as any budget, even Germantown city budget, you always have to trim the fat first. But one of the things I learned when dealing with the city budget was always ask what people want instead of what they need. And then you get a real sense of who they are and what they're looking at. So I'd like to find out what the schools want. We know what they need.
Yes. You might not have gotten people to say, we want an award-winning television studio, 30 years ago, but nobody wants to give it up now, now that you have it.
That's
yes.
exactly right.
Of course, this is also a best practices in that it's a business school cooperation, and it may be that there can be some more of those types of activities. Yeah.
One of the things I want back are, I want my teachers. I want those excess teachers back.
Talk to us about teachers and if you have teachers, all things being equal, which is a term I intensely dislike because I never think they are, but assuming that they're approximately equal, Would a teacher who is already teaching in the Germantown system have an advantage over someone who does not now teach in the system who would apply?
I certainly hope so. I certainly hope so. And I do believe the principals that are already in the Germantown system would already be here too. And the superintendent, of course, it's a superintendent's job to hire those principals, and then the principals to hire those teachers.
Right.
So I do believe that it's up to them to retain those that are doing the excellent work, and then get back those excess aides. Oh, Lord knows we need those aides back into the classroom.
Right.
So.
Absolutely. Tell us, we have about 30 seconds.
Oh, okay.
So tell us exactly what's going to happen between now, a timeline between now and next August.
We are sworn in on the 2nd.
Okay, elected on the 8th.
Elected on November the 7th, actually.
Is it the 7th? Yes, because Friday. It's Thursday the 7th.
Right, Thursday the 7th. We're sworn in on the 2nd. We may have our first meeting that night.
In December 2nd.
December 2nd. December 3rd, we will start the selection of superintendents. December the 5th, I believe, no, it's that next weekend. The 3rd and the 4th, we will have at least 3 to 5 superintendent candidates we will look at. That next week, we will have our School Board 101 in Nashville, where we have 14 required hours that we have immediate schooling, basically, on how to be a school board. And we will do that that next Thursday and Friday.
So that's going to be an intense period of time.
And then we have Christmas. So.
Good luck.
And we will try to have that superintendent on board by January 1.
Good luck. Good.
Yes.
That really is intense.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Good. And I want to thank you at home for joining us today on Tennessee Talks, and encourage you to get out and vote on November 7th. If you have any questions about this or any other show on Germantown Community Television, or if you'd like to watch our live stream, visit GHS-TV.org. You can also follow the station on Facebook and Twitter. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you next time on Tennessee Talks.